today I will be voice coding, not vibe coding. We're going to be building a volunteer management platform that predicts no-shows and automates scheduling for youth sports teams. We're going to be building a Next.js as well as a React Native Expo application. So I got this idea from Idea Browser. I have other videos going through a different concept, but shout out to Greg and the Idea Browser team. So let's get started here. I have a Cursor workspace here. I'm going to be using Anthropic's Opus 4.5. I think it's the best. Sonnet 4.5 is really good, but I think Opus blows. These two blow the rest out of the way, out of the water. I don't know. So I have a couple folders. I have these two top folders. This is our Next.js application. This is our Expo application. So that's where we'll be doing our building. I also have a bunch of other projects here that I've been building as well as have built in the past with pretty up-to-date conventions on how I do things from a code perspective. So we'll be using that to guide AI. So let's get into coding. We have, again, a volunteer management platform. So we have users, we have sports teams, we have events, and then the ability to sign up as a volunteer. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get coding on both of these at the same time. All right. So I'm going to start on Next.js and then work my way and then kind of trail React Native behind it because they're pretty much set up the same. All right. So I'm going to be using Whisper Flow for dictation. We can see that I'm talking down here. So I'm going to shift into talking to AI. Let me start over. I'm going to do this for an hour, see how much we can get between now and 11:30. I'm just going to upload this video. Fair warning, I may curse. I do apologize. I try not to, but that's just who I am. All right, so we're going to be building a volunteer management system that predicts no-shows and automates scheduling for youth sports teams. There's a couple pieces of data that we need to start with. One is the user. Another is a sports team. So let's start with that. What I need you to do is go and look at, for this Next.js application, I need you to go and look at THT Web. Let's actually do THT Web Admin Panel. I will link it, THT Web Admin Panel. In that admin panel, you will find src / two folders that you care about, src/model, src/store. Model is where we define our TypeScript types. So I need you to go in there and define a user type and a sports team, a team type. The user type should have ID, it should have email, it should have name, it should have phone number, and it should have an is active. On the team, we should have an ID, we should have a name, we should have a, this is really all we need for now. Let's do like a sport, which is basketball, baseball, soccer, and then come up with a list of like an enum for that. That enum should also be declared inside of the src/model/team file. So we should use types instead of interfaces. So we have the model file. Once we have the model file, then I need you to install, if we don't have it, and implement our Redux setup. So our Redux setup is in src/store. Again, look at THT Web Admin Panel. This store has an index file, which is like a root index. It has a reducer, it has a store, it has the types, and then we have a couple different slice types in Redux. We have a builder, we have a current X slice, we have a dump slice, and then not really a slice, but we have thunks as well. For right now, we just need to focus on a dump slice. So I need you to go and look at src/store. I will link it here, /dumps. Let's do, which one's the easiest? Let's do a lead, I think is the most that I've been working with. So I will link lead at the top of this. Go and look at that dump slice. It's just an object of leads. We need now an object of users. As also create the current user slice that's used when I navigate into the user detail page so that I can view more about the volunteer. Also on the user, let's have a let's have a type. And I wonder if we should just have, let's just have a type. And the type should be, I don't know, coach, let's just do admin or volunteer. So I have just two sides for now. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so that's going to do a couple things. That's going to create src/model. That's going to create src/store, and it's going to create the user data inside of that. Let's go ahead, and I'm wondering what I could do next. It's once I get this started on Next.js, I can then get started on React Native, and then I can kind of have them go side by side. And I think what I'll do is on Next.js, I will focus on certain data types, and on React Native, I'll work on the other data types, such as like a volunteer sign up. I'll do that through the mobile app because volunteers are going to sign up through the mobile app, and then on the web app, I'll do like volunteer application management, right? So what I can do first on this Next.js stuff is get rid of these tabs. I'm not a big tab guy. Maybe I am, but just not for now. I don't know what's going to go in the tabs, so I'm going to remove them. All right, so back to some voice coding. Okay, so I need you to work on Coach Assist Expo. Right now, I want you to remove the tabs. I don't want them at the bottom. And a couple things. I don't use src/app. I use src/packages. And I need you to make sure inside of app we have. Okay, so this is using React. What's it called? React Expo Router, I think it is. I don't want to use Expo Router. I want to use React Navigation. So I need you to go and look at the What Would They Say app, which is the Mentor AI app. What Would They Say app? In that app, you will see that we have src/app.tsx. This app.tsx, okay, maybe this is old. Instead, I think we should look at, let's see, Expo. Okay, I need you to look at not What Would They Say, I need you to look at the Women Heart Expo app and look at src/app.tsx. That file, you will see that we are registering the root component. Once you do that, we will then need to go to the package.json, and then on line 2, instead of having of the packet.json, instead of having main, or line 3, I guess, for Coach Assist Expo, instead of having expo-router/entry, if you look at the Women Heart Expo package.json, you'll see that the main uses ./src/app.tsx. We need to do the same thing for Coach Assist Expo. What that's going to do is that's going to move us away from Expo Router and go to React Navigation. I'm just a navigation guy, React Navigation guy, and with the Redux setup that we have, I think it's a bit easier to use because, I won't get into that. Okay, so that is that. Then what you'll be able to do is get rid of the src/app folder, as well as the assets, maybe not the assets, don't touch the assets because there's some, don't do that. And then you can get rid of the component stuff, you can get rid of the constant stuff, and then what I need you to do is create an src/package, src/app.src folder, and then create the app.tsx, and then I need you to create a packages folder with a home, a src/packages/home/index.tsx, and that'll just be our root page. So go ahead and make those updates. Okay, so now so I'm glad I did that because there's some work to be done on, and Cursor's thing is just not, Cursor's auto suggest is just not, and let's see, maybe it is good. Sure, I think it's good enough. Nah, see, I don't know that I trust AI to know where to look. All right, so that should be good enough. That's going to go ahead and move all that stuff. Let's go check this out. It went ahead and created some model files, which is good. Got my create the team, which is good. Created app, which is great. We'll also need I'm trying to think of how we tie the volunteer to a team, but I don't know that we care about that right now. Okay. Model, index, team, user, store, current, dumps, teams, etc. Okay, so let's review Redux real quick. just so that you are caught up. So Redux's role in my applications is as, I'm sure other people's, but as like a local database, right? That's just the role of Redux. But I in other people's eyes, I overuse Redux. I think I use Redux a good amount. So if I go to src/store, like I said, we have this index file. I won't touch this yet. Excuse me. We have this root reducer. My apologies. We have this root reducer. This is essentially how we declare what our local database looks like. Our local database has 3 tables. It has users, it has teams, and it has the current user. And table is a loose term, but you know it is what it is. So as the app, when the app loads, we grab all relevant users. For right now, we'll just grab all users for quite a while because we're going to be Philly focused and our users are going to be small, so we don't really have to worry. Yeah, MVP, we don't have to worry about these fancy queries with pagination, etc. Sometimes the apps require a lot of data, so that we do need that. But in this case, we do not have a lot of data. So as we retrieve all users, we take that list of users and we add them to Redux. Again, our users dump slice is an object with key value pairs. So as we retrieve data, we throw it into the dump. And then as I interact with the data and I move away from a list of data to a specific piece of data, I take that user that I'm working on and I add it to the current X slice. So now when I'm managing a user's profile, I'm looking at a user, I have this single place to work with. And what this does is instead of passing it as a property or a route or whatever, a callback, whatever, any front-end component has access to this slice through Redux. That is possible. Okay, so that's the reducer, right? This is the database architect, the database structure. This reducer is used in the store file, which is just a function provided by Redux, which allows us to do the things such as having this local database. This local database, this Redux implementation, there's two things that need to happen. One is I need to be able to write to Redux, and a second is I need to be able to read the data from Redux. Oh, I don't need this. How I do that is through these 2 hooks. So use app dispatch allows me to add data to Redux. Use app selector allows me to retrieve data from Redux. Some types to help us. Don't need to care about that. All right, so this is what we have. If I go to src/app/page, let me go ahead and run this. Very cool. All right, so let me do something first. Let me check Expo. Actually, let me get started on Next.js first. Okay, so what we need, we have the user, we have the teams. Let's go ahead and do this. All right. So now I need you to create a list of fake teams, and don't worry about the fake users. So inside of src/app/page.tsx, I need you to update this to show a list of fake teams and then a table of these teams. Let's keep it light themed. Let's keep it professional. This is for a basketball, initially for a basketball coaches, basketball teams. But just make sure things are tight. We're not too bubbly. I don't want like the tech look and feel. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is going to update this page, create some fake data, and then update this homepage. Okay, I'm gonna ask it to figure it out. So actually, okay, this is gonna go ahead and update the list. Let's go over here. What's this? So rerun the app, npm install. Refresh that. Cool. All right. Okay, so now I need you to look at the Coach Assist website. in the Next.js app. Inside of that, you'll see src/model and src/store. I need you to install Redux if we don't have it and all the necessary things. And then I need you to create the model folder with the 3 types, with the 3 files. And then I also need you to create the store folder with those values as well. So go ahead and do that. All right, so this is going to catch the mobile app up to date. So if I go back to here, we can see it built out a nice table for us. Make this a little bit bigger. Got fake teams inside of here. Let me save this. We can see that we have all of this stuff in line. Okay. All right. So I need you to actually update the cursor rules. Go ahead and look at the THT Web admin panel, the THT Web app, as well as Mentor AI console. I need you to look at the cursor rules for those and establish a cursor rules for this Next.js application. The immediate thing is that our styles are never in line. Tailwind is great, but we still want the Tailwind logic styles to be extracted out. So go ahead and, like I said, look at THT Web and how those app and packages files, how they structure their styles. And let's make that change. Okay, so I do not like inline styles. I'm sure that's the case for most people. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take that out. So that'll be the first step. Let's go over here. So it looks like it's installing some Redux stuff. I will close this out. Okay. That's going to tell me to do what? Install. And if I go over to here, we have Coach Assist. Remember this structure, src/store, beautiful. Same exact thing. Right, and that's why I love working with React Native and Next.js, is because it is mostly the same thing. And I know people are going to be like, well, it's repeated code. But in the age of AI, that doesn't matter. It's honestly, I found better success when things are repeated and are as simple as possible. Because if they're simple, you can test them, and AI loves that stuff. Less room for error. Okay, so what's going on now? So we have to look at this. Whoa. Okay, so I'm looking at this web app a little too much for right now. Let's get rid of the header. Let's get rid of the trying to think what is relevant here. Okay, I just want the table for now. To get rid of all this other stuff. Then what I want you to do is work on what we call the team detail page. So I should be able to click into, I need you to add a cursor pointer to the rows of this table. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so we need to start extracting out this data from the main page. So what I need you to do is go to Coach Assist, src/app. We have page.tsx. I need you to create src/packages/teams/index.tsx. And inside of this, it needs to declare all of this logic. So src/app files should really only be a couple lines long, because what they're doing is they are just going to call the src/packages equivalent. Right, so let's go ahead and extract that over now. Similarly, we should have an src/utils, and src/utils/date-time/format date file, TypeScript file. We want one function per file, and this function is in charge of this format date, which I'll link. We don't want to declare, a couple of things. We don't want to declare this format date in a bunch of different files. That increases the likelihood of there being discrepancies or differences. Yeah, so that's the main thing. So we want to extract this out and then use it. So let's go ahead and do that. And we can see the styles here. Ooh. We can see the styles here. It's ugly for right now, but it's all moved down here, which is what we want. I'll refresh. Open this up. We have Expo, we have this home, which is good. Okay, now I want you to display the list of teams. Go ahead and, I guess, web is updating. What should we do here? Okay, yeah, let's just go ahead and create a we have src/home. What I want you to do is create a button that says view view teams, and let's start there. Okay, so very simple request, and that's because I need another request to set up navigation. Okay, so now we need to work on navigation. So if you go to Women Heart Expo, you will see src/nav, and inside of there you'll see yeah, you'll see src/nav/root. I'm trying to think if there's a better one to look at. Maybe it's this one. I also wonder if that's the right project. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay, now I need you to do, what I need you to do is set up the navigation folder for the Expo app. So if you go and check Women Heart Expo /nav/root, I'll link it. You'll see an index.tsx file, which is a root stack. We're going to copy the same flow over here. You'll see root routes, etc. So I need you to create a coach assist version of this. Instead of having src/nav/root and then the 3 files, we're just going to have a single stack. So we're not going to do tabs for this. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of tabs. So let's go ahead and do that. And we should have 2 routes in this. We should have home and we should have teams. And then what I need, and then just hold off on that. Don't create teams just yet. Just update it so that it's working. All right, so that's going to go ahead and create navigation for our mobile app. We can go ahead and look at this. We can see what the concept I was talking about, where we have teams page, and then in teams page we have packages. All right, so now the next step is this file is too big, right? This is the main teams page. What's going to go on this main teams list, really? What's going to go on this is a filter, any navigation. Actually, that goes up in the parent, but it goes, they filter, we'll have a table component, and then inside of that table component, we will have a row component. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, great. Great. So now what I need you to do is create src/packages/teams/table/index.tsx, and then inside of that table folder, I need you to also create a /row folder /index.tsx. We're just extracting out the table to the row, and the table and the row to their own files. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, it's all about the simplest files. Song slaps. All right, so let's go back to Expo. We have src/nav/root. Take out the root. We just want nav/hooks.tsx, index.tsx. So take out the root folder. And like I could do this, but then there are some potential reference issues for like imports and all that stuff. And the drag and drop, like I could select these 3 and drag into here. But yeah, there's just potentially some issues with imports and stuff that AI can figure out very beautifully. Cool. So now if we look at Teams pages, we can see that all we're doing is calling the Teams table. We're passing in fixed teams, which we'll fix in a second. And then we are inside of here, we have the top, the table header, and then we have the rows, which does the things. Very cool, very cool. Okay, now what I need you to do on this Teams table is, or this Teams page, I need you to add a button called Create Team. This Create Team should show a modal, which allows me to add the values for the team. I think we're just, like I said, I think we're just doing the team name. So it allows me to add a team name. What that modal should do is add the team to Redux, and then this Teams table is currently accepting in a Teams property. This Teams table has access to Redux. So we should go and look at the other tables in the other projects. You'll see that we use, in the table, we use the use app selector property, and then we use a use memo to turn that into an array. And then the Teams table has access to the array itself. So let's go ahead and make that update. Again, we need a modal. That modal should be in src/packages/team/create-team-modal/index.tsx. We should, we're on Next.js, so show the modal. Again, it should have those inputs. I guess just a single input. When I create the modal, when I go to create the team, we should be calling our first thunk, which is src/store/thunks/create-team-thunk. We always want the thunk word at the end. So go ahead and check our other web apps to see how we use app thunk and not create async thunk. And in that thunk, it should accept in the team, and then that will add it to our Redux slice. So go ahead and update that. All right, so that's quite a bit, but we're just adding the code to allow us to add a team. That modal is in charge of handling the values, showing the inputs, and then once it's done, it sends it to a thunk. A thunk for us is in charge of really talking to Redux and Firebase. So it's in charge of updating Redux, deleting Redux, all that stuff. And the same for Firebase. We never retrieve data or interact with data when it comes to persisting from the UI, and never from a hook, right? A hook is just a way, at least how I use it, is just a way to easily, is to create, if we're loading certain data in a certain way across many different pages, we just create a hook to allow us to, easily standardize that. All right, so that is going beautifully. What were we doing on mobile? Oh, nice. All right, so now we need to create the Teams folder. Teams folder. Okay, now I need you to create the Teams page or Teams package. So we have packages. A package is, so we'll have src/packages/teams. Do we have it? We do not. So right now we have src/packages/home.tsx. We need packages/teams.tsx. Inside of that teams, we need that index.tsx, which is going to be the main Teams page. Inside of this Teams folder, we're going to need a table folder. We're going to need a row folder. Go ahead and look at Coach Assist. I will link it. Go ahead and look at that structure. Don't do the create team modal just yet, but I want to show a table of these teams. Very cool. I don't want to fall in love. Okay, so what are we at? We're here. Nice. Oh, so sweet. It even took my color orange, which is nice. Nice. Very nice. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this modal so I can explain it. Okay, so you're doing too much. So this handles, I'll just do it myself. So we do not need any of this. All right, slow down, Matt. What? Oh. AI really struggles with this, with the thunk concept to start. All right, so there's an issue here. What's going on here? This is web. Okay, that's mobile. That's fine. It's working on that. Okay. So the issue is that we have local state, and then we're updating this value in Redux. So what we need to do is now use the current X slice instead. So I'm going to talk through it. Okay, so now's the time to use the current team slice. So we have inside a create team modal a team name value. Instead, when I change the input for text, you have set team name. I need you to create a local function in this file called handle team name change or on text change, whatever we want to do, we call it. This file, as the input is updated, it needs to update the current team.name value directly. Because it's what that allows us to do is then, much like we have local state, we have Redux. So we'll be able to just access that, and that'll get rid of a use state locally in the file. But then inside of the thunk, the create team thunk, that has access to Redux as well. So we don't need to pass any values to the create team thunk. The idea is as the user is updating the current team through the modal or through the modal, we're just going to be updating the current team slice, and then the thunk is going to be in charge of actually of grabbing that current team slice and then updating it in Redux. So let's go ahead and do that. I updated the thunk a little, the calling a little bit in this handle save because we don't need to retrieve, we don't need to do like a return await or anything, and yeah. So yeah, we should pass no properties to this create team thunk. Yeah, just really, and when I start the project, I have to explain a lot of the concepts. So yeah, and I will get back to that once. I will explain them to you once we do that. I think this is the app. Nice. Okay, so what did AI do? If I go to src/packages/teams, we have index.tsx. We have our beautiful things. It created a header for us, which is a little fancy, but we have our teams table. Our teams table has access to Redux. It creates a list of it, and then it iterates through them and renders, oh nice, a flat list. It renders the item, which calls our team table row. We still need a util slash src slash util slash date time slash format date. So we really, okay, so we need this utils folder. I have date-time/format date parentheses. I don't want a generic format date name. It needs to be format date and then show the format that it's going to give or describe it. So it'd be like format date MM DDYYYY or whatever we're doing. So just fix that. Okay, yeah, it looks like it missed that one, which is fine. Okay, so I'm thinking we do this create team modal. Eventually, like I said, we'll branch out, but we'll just keep it the same for now. Okay, so now I need you to look at the create team modal on web and create a mobile version of that. So we should use React Native modal, not the modal provided by React Native. Two different things. So make sure you install that package and use that new modal. And that modal, go ahead, make sure you check the create team modal again so that you see the usage of the current team slice because that's what we need. And I don't need to really review the code. I know what it's doing. We're very simple now. Look at this naming. That's so funny. Okay, well, this name is funky. It is the format returned by to local date string. Is that I mean, I guess it's right. Never mind. Whatever. Weird name, but if this is what it returns, that's what it returns. So that's good. Okay, so let me go back to here. We have create team, Sixers, create the team, and then it's there. So let's go ahead and look at, what I was telling it to do. All right, so we have the modal. When we change the name, we are setting this set name. We're calling this set name action inside of the current team slice. Default is basketball. That allows us to no longer pass these properties inside of create team thunk. I don't know what that was, but inside of this create team thunk, we are creating the team, adding the default values, and then adding it to the team. I'm just going to remove this. I don't like to reset the current X slice on creation or whatever, even if we're closing the modal, because sometimes the resetting happens before the modal is completely closed, and that lays like a flicker to the user when the form that they provided gets reset. They're like, oh my god, what happened? Did it not delete, etc. So I typically reset the current X slice when we are navigating to it, right? So let's say, I create a team, and then that team is created. The current X slice still has that team data, even if I'm off doing other stuff. But once I go into once I open the edit team modal or the create team modal, both of those use the current team slice. We will reset the slice and then set if it's a create, the reset is good. If it's an update, we reset and then set, right? So if I go to current team, there is a set value in which we just return the payload. The payload has a type of team, so it has to be the right type. Maybe I got to do some install. So let me hop on this still. Okay, so we're here. What do we want to do next? Let's go ahead and I don't know if I should persist yet. Maybe that's where we end this, is the Firebase stuff. Okay. All right, so I have Firebase already. I have the Firebase credentials already added to this Next.js application. I want to talk about data persistence. So what we need to do is create a src / API folder. And this API folder is going to look much like the API folder we have in THT web, web admin panel. So src/API, we have a Firestore folder and we have a functions folder. Ignore the functions folder for now. I just want to work on the Firestore folder. Inside of inside of THT Web Admin Panel /src/API/Firestore, you will find a mutators and a retrievers folder. As well as a services folder, a utils folder. All we care about in that utils folder is the generate Firebase ID. And then you'll see a config and an index. I believe the config we already have set up. And then you'll see a types. The types describes our Firestore collection. So as we add new collections, we'll add an enum to Firestore collection. That just allows us to use TypeScript a little bit. Don't care about the HTTP status or the API response or the document options. I just want the Firestore collections. So really just copy and paste over these mutators, these simple functions. And then what I need you to do is create src/Firestore/services and create a /team folder. And then inside of that /team folder, I need you to do get all teams.ts, and I need you to do create team.ts, delete team.ts, update team.ts. So create those files for this Next.js application. Then what I need you to do is go into src/store/thunks. src/store/thunks teams, create team thunk. What you need to do inside of this thunk, after you do on line 20, you have dispatch team actions, add team. You're adding this team to the Redux dump slides, which is great. I need you to also call create team document. And then you're going to provide the team. And then you need to make sure instead of on line 15, instead of doing crypto.random UUID, it's going to go ahead and do the, it should use generate Firebase ID. Yeah, go ahead and use that. I think that's it for right now. Don't worry about data loading. Just focus on creating. Okay, I think I'm going to have to end it there. I will let this run and then come back and end it, but I got to use the bathroom. I really appreciate you watching. I didn't make it until 11:30, so like a 45-minute video, but I will pick this up in a bit. I'm going to create some new coffee, create another pot of coffee, and yeah, appreciate you watching. I'm going to keep it running so that you can just see the result. Peace. Been